Now, you know, it is tough enough to graduate from West Point and qualify for Army Airborne Rangers. But my next guest set their sights on an even taller mountain to climb. In fact, the tallest mountain in the world. That story is told in their book, A Higher Calling, Pursuing Love, Faith, and Mount Everest for a Greater Purpose. This is my visit with Rachel and Captain Harold Earls. Now, Harold, you are a captain in the United States Army, and you've had a most interesting career in working at Arlington Cemetery running the Honor Guard. I'm just so blown away by that because it's one of the most moving experiences I think any American can have is seeing the changing of the guard at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier. What drew you to that assignment?
I honestly feel so just lucky to serve in that position. I would go into work every morning and I would drive past more than 300,000 headstones of our nation's heroes. And honestly, that place is the heart and soul of this country. And to have the opportunity to serve my fellow tomb guards as the commander of the guard at the Tomb of the Unknown Soldier, it really does represent the very best of this country.
I want to talk about this book. I think maybe you're one of the most interesting couples. You decided you wanted to climb Mount Everest. Rachel, when he told you that, I mean, you're just going to get married.
Yes, sir. And
he says, oh, by the way, as soon as we get married, I'm going to climb Mount Everest. What did you say?
So I think most people expected me to be like, what are you talking about? Are you kidding me? But that is just the type of man that Harold is. He has these big dreams and he just goes after them. So I was like, okay, I guess this is the next adventure.
So how do you even prepare for something like that?
Well, I think it first starts with the mental side, right? I had to make sure that my family was okay with it. I think I honestly learned so much about love through Rachel. I mean, we did this in our first year of marriage. But not only did she come around me and say, hey, I support you doing this, she said, hey, if this is your dream, this is gonna be my dream too. And that's where I learned so much, is we ran that race together and we tackled that dream together.
But she was smart enough to stay on the ground while you went up to the top.
That's true.
I mean, a lot of people, seriously, don't come back from this attempt. People die trying this, and others lose fingers and toes from frostbite. Was there any moment as you ascended Mount Everest that you were really worried that you might have just bitten off a little more than a Georgia boy should chew?
Many of times, honestly. There was one time in particular, we actually were on our way down. We got hit with about 75-mile-an-hour winds. Our Army team had been split up. And so there's few moments in my life, but that moment in particular, I was terrified. I mean, the fact that you climb past dead bodies, I think gives a realization to me. I'm 23 years old.
You climb past dead bodies on the way up?
You use them as checkpoints, actually.
No kidding.
What's interesting is I actually made a phone call to Rachel. It was right before we were going to leave and go to the summit. I was sitting at Advanced Base Camp, about 20,000 feet. I'd gotten actually extremely sick, so I was puking. It was the day we were supposed to leave and do our summit push. And so I called her and told her I didn't think I could go. I literally will never forget, I had tears in my eyes just sitting there, because it was a dream of mine since I was a kid to climb Everest. And then that very next day, I actually called Rachel and was like, hey, I'm feeling better, I'm going. But frankly, I was not in any shape to be going up. But I think that they call this summit fever. When you want to make it to the summit so bad that you will simply do anything to make that happen. I was willing to sacrifice everything, including my marriage, including the cause. We were raising awareness for PTSD, all for my own interest in making it to the top.
Wow. Well, you did it, but Rachel, while he's over there, you decided, okay, I'm going to take a mission trip to Guatemala, and you go off to Guatemala. Was that to get your mind off of this?
Absolutely. You know, I had the, of course.
I love the honesty.
I didn't want to be thinking about that all the time. You know, I really could have been just consumed with all the fear. And so I didn't want fear to write my story.
You guys are quite adventurous. One of the things you're doing with your book, A Higher Calling, is to talk about marriage. How to make it work, how to experience, both of you have really some amazing dreams and aspirations, but you are very close, and that's got to be a challenge, is to be able to respect each other and the dreams that you individually have. What's the big lesson to making a marriage work when you're faced with that kind of challenge?
Teamwork, hands down. I mean, you really have to be in it together.
Well, I think, too, faith has played such a big part in our lives. By no means, we actually just celebrated our 5-year wedding anniversary, but by no means do we have everything figured out. But faith has provided us with that foundation to know where we want to go, the impact that we want to have is all for the glory of God. And I think that's really what has enabled us to do the things that we've done.
I think if anybody's ever been to Arlington National Cemetery, you know that amazingly moving moment at which the changing of the guard takes place. And Captain Earls was the person who oversaw that unit. And so what an extraordinary young man and a great couple. So happy to have them with us. And you can order the Earls' best-selling book, A Higher Calling, or read a free excerpt and more at their website, earls.org. Also, keep up with them by subscribing to the Earls Family Vlogs on YouTube.